All right, awesome. I just went ahead and dropped the link to this presentation in the chat for everybody if they just want to click on it, and this way they have their own copy. I know when I go to clinics, a lot of times I spend a lot of time trying to write down what they're saying as opposed to what's on the screen because I know hopefully they'll be able to give me what's on the screen later. So I just want to drop that in now, and I'll drop it in later for anybody else who joins. As Coach G introduced me, my name is Ryan Landrum. I'm an assistant football coach at Midlothian High School. I'm not an OC, not a DC. I'm a youngin. I'm turned 30 in 3 months. I know my former coach, Braden Cover's in here. It makes him feel a little bit older. So, but the main thing I want to talk about is social media and other platforms that can help grow your brand. One of the big things we've kind of discovered in me and my program the last 5 years is that when we started at Midlothian High School in 2015, it was a program split with the second high school. It hasn't had a winning season in 4 or 5 years. It hadn't been to the playoff, or hadn't been to playoffs in 4 or 5 years. It hadn't won a playoff game in 30 years. So we had to create our narrative and create our juncture to be able to tell our story of how we're growing, what we're doing, and we'll see a little bit of growth of that today. My mission to help out everybody here. I'm presenting how communication to stakeholders is essential for your new age, mainly controlling your narrative. I was looking at a study, kind of researching through this, and a study in October 2019 showed that over 50%, nearly 55% of people surveyed got their news from social media. Now, that can be scary in a lot of aspects, depending on which type of social media they're watching, depending on which aisle that you which outside the aisle you sit on. But the same token, you can use that ability and what stakeholders want to do, be able to be on social media and control your narrative, put your story out there, be able to control what people are saying about you and what is shown to the public. I want to teach new dogs old tricks and old dogs new tricks. Guys that are my age or younger, sometimes you got to learn how to sit and stay before you can run roll over. Old dogs new tricks. There are certain things that you want to do for your program, but you got to be able to promote it. You got to be able to show everybody what you're doing. And then, of course, probably the scariest thing about all this is showing that the future athletics is millennials and Gen Z, not necessarily as players, but as parents. Like I said, I'm turned 30 this year. I'm stuck kind of in the middle of the millennials. So people my age, younger, a little bit older, having their kids. I know some who had kids in high school that are high school age right now. So kind of wraps that up in your head a little bit. So you got to be able to find a way to communicate with those types of parents who are more in social media as opposed to snail mail or email or things like that. So that's what we'll kind of show you today. Main thing before we go on, kind of a disclaimer, is we have to be real expectations of what you're trying to do. And what that I mean is you can't really go start chasing followers, start chasing, the big thing. You got to be able to see what you're trying to do as far as your program. Just kind of as a control unit here. This is the one I'm in charge of, the Twitter handle for Midlothian Panthers. We have a school population just under 2,000 kids, but our followers we have over 2,300 followers, which to me kind of shows a general concept, not a great measurement, but it's kind of one you kind of look at, that if your school population is a certain size and you have a following that can be comparable to it, that kind of shows you how you're growing your brand. A couple of years ago, before a couple other programs started to really get into it, I consider myself and consider the program to be one of the best advertised programs in South Dallas. So I was really proud of it. And I'm still proud of the job that we have done in coming forward here. But just kind of show you a comparison to some other programs. District opponent this upcoming year, guys that I keep in touch with as far as looking at their social media, collegial heritage, virtually around the same, just a little bit smaller school population we do, but about just as many followers. The guy who's in charge of that does a real good job. I haven't met him yet, but I really want to try to get a hold of him and talk to him about his the way he does their social media. Probably the guy that I look to the most for a lot of the Flower Mound Marcus. I've talked to him. He's an ex-Midlothian guy. He does a great job with their social media. You start looking at theirs, these guys have just under 3,100 kids in their population, but their Twitter following alone is nearly 5,000. And you're like, well, that's not quite double the kids, it's a little bit over. What's so special about that? Well, let me show you how that compares to a couple of premier programs. If you're from Texas, this logo ought to mean something to you. Aledo High School, 9-time champion. In fact, we dang near upset them in overtime at their homecoming this year. You look at theirs, they were 9-time state champion. 8 out of the last 11 years, they've won it. And I guarantee you they've been in all 11 of those state championship games. Their school population is not just under 1,900. They have 3,000 followers just on this. But, the more you win, the more followers you're going to get, right? Well, depending. Again, Texas, you know this logo, Allen High School Eagles, the biggest high school in the state of Texas. Over 7,000 or nearly 7,000 kids, 5-time state champion. But their following on Twitter is pretty small, because if you look at what they're doing, what their goals are, it's not necessarily Twitter based. I relish in the fact that I'm getting close relatively to their followers on Twitter. But if you look at their Facebook stuff, we're talking about Facebook here in a minute, they kill it on Facebook, and they are doing a great job as far as different things on there. So it's not necessarily to winning. I mean, you got to be relative to what you're trying to do and what your narrative is. And if the Alito guy happens to be in this chat, I need to talk to you, brother, because we need to get your Twitter game up, because there's about 5 posts from this month, and the last post from before that was 2018. So we need to have a talk, and let's sell that branch a little bit more. Kind of an outlier today. 4 levels of stakeholder communication. First one I'm going to talk to is about what I call level 0, your base level, your direct communication platforms, things that you need to do to talk to those stakeholders, players, parents, admin, stuff like that. Then we'll kind of go up from there. Level 1, easy, immediate platforms. Level 2, growing brand platforms. Level 3, fast changing platforms. And I'll show you some examples of what we're trying to do on each individual level as we go along. Level 0, direct communication plans. A lot of you probably used this one before, Remind. That's very, very good one to have used. However, things have kind of changed in the last couple of years. They've lost a lot of people because they originally dropped Verizon, and then they brought it back, or Verizon dropped them, either way, however that works. And then they limited class size to 150 people. Well, if you have a bigger program, like even Midlothian, which is a stellar, great program as far as numbers go, we still have 150 kids in the program. Well, if you want parents on mind and stuff like that, you got to create separate classes. I took an idea we had at Copper's Cove where we separated kids between sophomores, juniors, seniors, stuff like that. Band app, I've heard that's a really good one for a couple people. I can't attest to that, but I know that is one that some people really attest to. The one that Texas, at least Texas High School Coach Association, is trying to push more towards, and I know we're going to go to in Midlothian, is Sports U. I'll show you some examples. I'll show you that here in another window here in a second. And then the one that I'm proud of that my head coach got me on to and say, hey, well, I want to do this. Let's see what we can do to make this work. Is S'more newsletter. We send it out weekly during the season and periodically during the off season to communicate what we're doing and show the hard work that we're putting in every single week. So I'm going to kind of get out of this stuff real quick, and I'm going to show you how this one works. This is Sports U, at least the web-based one. It's also an app on the phone. I'm not going to go into too much detail, just basically looking at it. It's kind of like a Facebook-esque feed specifically made for coaches and teams and sports that THSCA is posting. Here you can create your different teams, or you can create one big team and then separate into groups. Like I'm a part of the THSCA whole coaches deal, but at the same point in time, they have a group with just Region 6, so I'm able to do that. So that's just if you're looking for a platform, I'm going to recommend it. Midlothian's going to go to it here shortly as soon as we're able to get contact with all the kids. So one to look at. This is my big one here, and my personal favorite. Inside the Huddle, we use this every week to talk to our players, community, admin, things like that. Here, I'll just kind of go through it quickly. Put up pictures from the previous game here. We were playing Carrollton Creekview in a battle, and we were able to show different pictures from our sidelines. I'll talk more about who takes pictures, stuff that later. Just some basic information. Able to put JV and freshman results out there in just one streamlined way to be able to show that. Like here, I just did a little quick PowerPoint Photoshop, showed our JV freshman results, did a little quick write-up that we have to do for every game, links to pictures, announcements like, hey, you're practicing on Labor Day. Even pushed out 2 words character development. If you're part of the 2 word system, we use this to push out the first 3 weeks and being able to push that to kids and parents, stuff like that, putting the videos in there, embedding videos from YouTube and Vimeo, things like that. We have our own theme of the week that we pushed out there that we want everybody to know, improve, stuff like that. We have a message from our team chaplain every week, so we push that in there. Game information. Here we're playing Clean Shoemaker. Gosh, no matter how far away from my hometown, I can't seem to get away from those guys. But we put our game information for our varsity, followed by our JV, directions, everything go with that. Push out community events and things that we want our people to see, such as Teacher of the Week. Take a picture. We have a Teacher Week, take pictures, send it out there. Our Panther reading, and when we go visit our elementary schools, things like that. Fundraisers. fundraisers that you want to do. Here we have our Booster Club fundraiser, and then we have our team fundraiser. We'll talk more about the team fundraiser here in a minute because it goes directly with the social media platform. And this year, our main focus of this section is to highlight people behind the scenes in football. In this case, we were doing the head cheer coach. So this is a really good way. They have a lot of different options here. You can like any of our social media directly from this newsletter. We get it out in a couple ways. One, we collect all the emails from our online attendance system and put them into a mailing list that we send out every single Sunday or whenever our coach wants to send them out during the off season. It also has direct links to Facebook, Twitter. If you have your own web page, you can copy and embed it here. I haven't done that yet, although it's probably my next one. If you happen to do Pinterest or whatever for your program, there's integration with there too. So again, finding your ways and presenting your narrative is the main thing here. Show what you're doing as a program through these communication lines directly to those stakeholders, players, parents, admin. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten feedback from teachers, principals, and even the superintendent has emailed back and said, hey, this is great stuff. I love seeing this stuff. So be able to show that. Next one, easiest immediate platforms. These are ones that I recommend if you don't have one for your team, at least one that's controlled by your coaches or a booster or something like that, need to go because they're very simple. You can send them 10 minutes and they link together. Facebook, I'm sure everybody knows. And then Instagram, probably have heard of it if you don't know it already. The main thing with these two is that it's kind of a two or three-fold attack. Facebook, major stakeholders are your parents, your teachers, your admin, they're all on Facebook. Everybody that's basically older than 30 is on Facebook. Instagram, attacking the younger generation. Basically anybody 30 or younger probably has an Instagram, probably a little older than 30 has an Instagram. And since those two are connected because Facebook owns both, you can take pictures through Instagram and then send it directly to your Facebook. So you only have a one-stop attack. It does integrate with Twitter as well, but it's a little bit different. And I'm going to talk about how you can get around that in a minute. But also this bottom one here, you may have heard of it, Snap Raise, quite possibly one of our biggest fundraising things ever. And it directly links with Facebook. We tell all of our all our players that I don't care if you use your Facebook, but freshman year, you need to make one real quick. Go friend your grandma, your grandpa, your auntie, your uncle. And we're going to talk about why that's important here, because if you look at our fundraiser that we did here, we raise that much money. We get a cut of it depending on percentages and what deals with the contract and all that stuff. I'm not privy to that information, but showing that we created this and we kind of looked at statistics with the guy. There are two biggest ways that we've gotten donations were emails, of course, because you're going to email everybody out there, or Facebook. And have your kids, when they get this app, they get on this webpage, they're able to make an account. They share it directly with their Facebook, with their Twitters, with whatever to get this. And of course, we tell them, please put it on Facebook because, again, parents, grandparents, aunties, uncles, they have the money. Teachers don't have the money. Coaches don't have the money. So send it out to your parents, and then your parents are going to see that. And we've had a couple parents question, like, this is like panhandling, isn't it? Well, yeah, but in the same token, I know, at least for me, I'd much rather donate to a cause and not worry about receiving some trinket or some food that I have to worry about getting delivered. And we do this. It also is really easy on coaches because it's all on the kids. They push it out and you don't have to worry about taking names for cards. You don't have to worry about prizes being delivered. So this is one of our two fundraisers we use every year, but that's always a good way to push out. Once again, using social media, using those direct lines, such as that Inside the Huddle, stuff like that. Level 2, growing the brand. Obviously, you're here because of Twitter. Coach G puts that link out on Twitter every day, and we tell the kids all the time, Twitter is your business brand. If you want college recruiters looking at you, if you want parents looking at you, you want coaches looking at you, this is the one you need to have public. You need to make sure that it looks clean. You have links to Huddle or links to other virtual combines. I believe is another one that's kind of going out there, and I talked to them earlier today. They seem like they're a really good program to do, but have your links there, have it ready for that. Same thing with your program. This is your business program. If you want something to be seen by those that matter, it is Twitter. Facebook's great for personal stuff. Like I said, everybody's on Facebook, but if you want coaches to see, if you want college recruiters to see, if you want stuff to see, Twitter is your mainstay. And that's my main at this point, at least my opinion. Kind of some tools to help you out. layout and repost. Some people probably have never seen these in their lives. These aren't the exact logos, just the best ones I could find. Layout and repost help your Instagram stuff go up. Layout just makes a collage of different pictures. You'll see it. I think of an example later today with it. Repost, you can repost other kids. Like if they put film on their Instagram, you can repost it from your team's Instagram account, and it shows it to a lot of different ones. Again, Instagram's probably your main younger ones, but it does get information out there, and that's what you want to do as a coach as part of your program. Buffer, probably the biggest help this past season was that Buffer is a free plus service, meaning that you can buy extra stuff with it, but you can link 3 different social media platforms to it. So in our case, we linked our Facebook, Twitter, and our Instagram. And anytime we put something out, that's what does it. We put, like I said, stuff that we do in the community out there. I should have put some examples in, but we have a coach who does stats that can't be in the box because of technology reasons. So every time there's a touchdown or something scored, he puts a score update live on that, and he uses Buffer to use it. We just put on a picture, it sends it to Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Rolling into that, these bottom 2 for sure, Photoshop and iMovie, higher level skills that younger coaches or coaches who want to try to make a name for themselves get playing around with these particular brands. Photoshop does cost a little extra. iMovie's on a Mac if you happen to have it. Some it's on your phone as well. But getting used to these skills helps not only you as a coach work yourself up a ladder by showing you have a skill that nobody else has. It also helps push the brand. I'll have examples later on, but this Photoshop stuff is good stuff to do. iMovie, Coach Coburn here knows that at Copper's Cove every day or before every game, we did a highlight video. Well, 2 years ago, we brought it back for Midlothian. And before we run out of the locker room, we show a highlight video every day. And of course, yours truly has to make that video every single day. So every single week. So being able to show that and being able to do that is a really, really great skill to have, as well as you can put that out in the public, as we'll talk here on the next platform, to where you grow and you're able to show the good things for your program. Before we get to level 3, I'm just going to give a shout out to a couple coaches that are much better at me and that this Photoshop thing, and they do a really good job for a small nominal fee to help you out. Coach Cisneros, I coached against him. He's at Cleveland right now. Great dude. Talked to him a bunch of times. He's helped me do a couple things on Photoshop that I never thought I could do. I try to chase him in the Photoshop game a little bit. And then my buddy from Copper's Cove, younger than me, but I've known him since he was a freshman, and kept in touch. Coach Lyons at Kilgore High School, he does the same thing. So if you feel like you don't have it, or you don't have the skill, or you don't have a coach who can do the skill, these guys do it for very, very inexpensive. So this is my not sponsored plug. Oh, and level 3, the fast changing platforms. These platforms are going to be the unfortunate future of social media game. YouTube's the old man on the block. It's been around for 10 years, but it's ever changing in the fact that businesses now are really buying into YouTube. They have been for the last couple of years. So copyrights are a huge thing that really stop programs like ours from putting stuff on there. So you have to find different ways around it and be able to use non-copyright, non-royalty stuff to be able to put that out there. I'll show you some exact examples later. Snapchat, most people probably know about Snap. Or if you don't, it's basically just a real quick picture that disappears after 24 hours on your story, stuff like that. Very similar to Instagram in an aspect. The difference is that this really has to be done live. This is what the younger generation, my age, and probably even a lot younger, really use and communicate through just quick pictures, quick messages, stuff like that. You can use it for branding, but it's ever changing because the logarithm has been changing a lot from what I've been looking at. You kind of do need some money to put filters, to put different types of stuff. But a lot of people, a lot of different things have gone to. A lot of articles on websites are linked on Snapchat. A lot of people are getting some news from Snapchat. A lot of people are leaning into it. So being able to work into that, and I haven't yet figured that out, but that's kind of a goal I want to do, is to put more of these into our programming. So Snapchat's another one. And then finally, me and Coach G were talking about earlier, TikTok. Probably the best and worst and weirdest social media platform I think I have ever run across. It's blown up recently, especially due to the quarantine. It's kind of snuck its way into Facebook and Twitter and stuff like that. People are starting to use a little more in there. But this has been big for almost a year and a half, 2 years now with the kids, and it kind of really blew up last fall. when in high school, and some kids were quoting it, and I was quoting it right back at them. They're like, Coach, you know about TikTok? I go, yeah, I have to know what your language is. I have to know how you're communicating. And the reason why it's a great one is because there are some really funny stuff. If you were in social media game back a few years ago, you remember Vine, it's basically the same thing, memes made by video and sound. This one just specializes in recording over sound. In this case, I'm going to show you how a coach is really leaning into it. Some of you probably seen it. The 4th and 3 series, I'm not going to play the whole thing because I want you to go see it. But
almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountain, Shenandoah River. Life is old there.
All right, I'll stop it there. But he's really leaning into this TikTok. He's gotten a big following around the coaches from this. This is a 4-part series, and it's pretty funny. So I think he's really leaning into it. It's bad, though. You got to wade through it because the main stakeholder in that, the main people going to that one are the teenagers. And you have to really have some either thick skin or be able to move and swipe quickly because there's stuff on there that you never want to see and makes you feel like, and if you're a parent, really monitor your kids' TikTok. I'm going to leave it at that, but really monitor, make sure they know what's going on and stuff like that. So, but these are the fastest changing platforms. These are the future in some aspects. I don't see any of these going away anytime soon. I mean, YouTube's got a big backing. Snapchat's got a big backing. TikTok is growing more faster and faster as we go along. And another bad thing about TikTok is that because it's controlled mainly by teenagers, it goes so quick. A meme that was popular 2 weeks ago is no longer popular and you can't find it. So you have to be able to, businesses like the NFL, ESPN, MTV, stuff like that, they've tried to hop on TikTok, but if you're not on it every single day, doing some sort of content every single day, it is so hard to catch up with it. So hopefully it slows down here in a little bit to where we can kind of use it, but definitely do your research on it and be able to know what the kids are talking about. This way you know how to communicate with them and how in the future you're going to be able to communicate with different parents. Like for me, I'm 30. I got a lot of coaching left in me. A lot of my eventual parents that I'm going to have to be hard, new TikTok now. They may know TikTok here in 10, 15 years. So a good way of doing it there. All right, kind of going into some examples now. This is some stuff that we put up for coaches. Like I said, the branding with the program is not only for your program, it can also be used for you. In this case, we kind of used a little bit of combination of both. The top video that I'm playing here, we integrated some combatants into our off season a couple of years ago. Thank God all these kids gained weight because they are skinny. So we put that out there. We're showing, hey, we're doing these tough combatants that these MMA coaches have done. This coach here, he leaned into it. He's into jiu-jitsu. He goes and trained at the gym in Dallas where they fight, where the MMA, UFC fighters train. So he leaned into it. He rose up his brand a little bit just by doing that. Bottom left-hand corner, really good in the public. We asked the kids to do mats every single day during the offseason. We're a very, very big mat team. So it's really nice when you get the coaches out there and they're running mats and being able to show how human you are and how well you can do the mats or how bad you can do the mats. So that's another way to grow your program, show that your coaches are going beyond and having fun with the kids. Speaking of bad, yours truly had to do scout team quarterback one week a couple years ago. And we're running against an I wing team, which, is very, very seldom to see in Texas nowadays. So I had a little experience running some I game from junior high and a little bit of wishbone from my freshman year of high school. So I was able to understand how to do some play fake, stuff like that DC wanted. So here, me and my glory, running scout team quarterback, got a real good boot. I'm about to go gain about 10, 15 yards, and boom. And I included that in a hype video that we did early on or later on that season, and it was very, very funny to help kids and help them relax for a game and stuff like that. So showing stuff like that helps not only your brand, helps your program's brand, showing that your coaches are human, that they're fun people to be around with. Some other mild examples to help your brand, coaching brand, your program brand. If you ever go have a team or group dinner, here I am with my position group during Thanksgiving last year. They all bleached their hair against better judgment. But here I just put a picture up, shows me the brand, shows that that we're going beyond just coaching and just being able to do that. I know every single one of us knows that we go out and do these things, but the community doesn't necessarily know that. And that's kind of how I got this email here too. One day this past year, I bought breakfast for my position group. So that's parent emailed me and say, hey, we noticed. Sometimes it goes nuts, but we noticed. So we want you to. That's another good way of doing that. I went to a clinic this year, Coaches Summit. If you were at the part of the Damon West group earlier today, he spoke there. Really great stuff to go to. Show that you went to clinics. Show that you're growing as a program. Your coaches are going to clinics. Here, this is a June day in the summer. Our defense staff's up there coaching and learning and doing all this stuff. So it shows that you're up and working even when you're not supposedly aren't. If you're doing community service stuff like toy drives, here, another great stuff to have up there and promote with your social media, get people out for. During this quarantine times, we started putting workouts on our Twitter page and our Facebook and our Instagram. So here's an example of that. We moved on to an app recently, but that's just a good way of getting started. Once again, another Photoshop deal for that. The rest of the stuff that you're going to see I have to give thanks to our media team, the one that we kind of went together. We had to go out and build. When we first got here to Midlothian, we had 0 filmers, 0 photographers that the football program had directly with them. So my first year in varsity, a couple years later, coach asked me to put something like this together. So we got us a couple filmers. We got kids that did photography for us that weren't a part of the booster club, weren't a part of yearbook. So all their pictures, their deal I made was that you can take whatever you want. You can just stay out of the way. You can put your watermark on it, but you have to at least allow me access to use it for our stuff. So here's a couple of examples that we put out there showing that we're doing different things, all these great pictures. All the kids love having pictures out there. The parents loving having these pictures out for free. Always a really, really great resource. The community loves seeing what their teams are doing. Down here, there's my photographers. Also helps that one of your photographers is the assistant AD's granddaughter. Really good to help you as far as putting your name and your brand going up as far as your importance. So just want to give a shout out to them. Another thing to help your brand, social media, we put this out here every spring. We invite our current 8th graders who want to play football in the following fall. We invite them over. We put them up here in the morning. We bus them back to school. So we make sure we push that out on all of our social media and communication platforms. Even just putting a simple video, 5-second video on Twitter and Facebook about you going down to the junior high and help coaching their kids. We are triple option programs. Here we are running just a little group drill, working on our meshes and our pitches, stuff like that. That wasn't a great rep, but it was the one I captured. So putting stuff out there, controlling your narrative, showing what you are doing as far as a program with coaches from top to bottom really, really is a great thing to put out there. Some of the bigger stuff we've done, we just opened a brand new facility with a lot of different photos. Here we are watching our 2 words, character development. We really bought into the character development stuff. So here we are showing it. Steve Mackey, the guy in the 2 words videos, actually contacted or actually put on Twitter that he wanted to film some here. So I got in contact with him. So hopefully we get something filmed here pretty good. Showing summer workouts and just, weight room stuff. This is a big picture that show how much we've grown from this from a couple summers ago. Show that we have over 100 kids out for the summer program between incoming 9th grade and incoming 12th grade. And when we first got here 5 years ago in 2015, we had 20 kids out. So just showing that growth and showing your community, hey, this is how much that means to our kids, how much it means to us that they're out here. Below, we're showing that we have a program to help our kids become leaders. We talked about how and their accountability. We do accountability for morning workouts, after school stuff, grades, character, second sport, service hours. I won't get into too much detail right now. If you have a question that, I'll be gladly to answer that at the end, but that takes a little bit. So I want to be able to get through that. But if you have a question with that, just put a pin in it and we'll come back to it. But again, stuff that you want to push out to social media, what you're doing. Some video aspects. One of those things that really has helped us push out some things this year is that we invested in a drone last spring, and it has really helped us with some really cool shots to put out on Facebook. Here, this first video we're showing is just us running out of our tunnel and showing what a great shot that is to get your on your Twitter, on your Facebook, on your Instagram, stuff like that, to where you can show that and be able to say, hey, that really looks cool. Our brand is doing this. This team is really doing this. To help your kids out, recruiting or otherwise, we use our drone during our spring game. We're a triple option team, as I said before. Our, home run plays are few and far between. We're usually a grinded out, let's go out tough people. Well, here's a play that on a spring game that really got, sorry, this thing's a little bit tricky, that really got a home run pop going. It was really great angle here on this drone. Just being able to show this, to be able to brand your kids, hey, here's what this kid did, and here's how good it looks from this angle. That don't you wish you had this kid? Look how well he read this triple option. Look how he just tucked it up and said, I'm going to go score from 60 yards out. that repost thing that I showed you earlier. Here's where we put a highlight of a JV game up on our Instagram, and this kid who made our game-winning interception, he reposted on his stuff, so it's able to put his brand further, be able to put your brand further, showing that your kids are doing different things at different levels. So it's highly recommended that you find a way to do that. It can also help with other programs that you want to promote. Like if you have a kid, we have a kid right now who's signed for D1 baseball. He makes a great play in baseball, and baseball puts it on their social media. I can repost it on Instagram, retweet it on Twitter, stuff like that. Hype videos. I'm not gonna, again, I don't want to go straight through 2 minutes everything. And this is one of those things to where we put music to it. So YouTube's really, really hard on it. Like I have a lot of them upload to YouTube, but they're all copyright attached to it. So people can put ads on it. So it's this is one of those really difficult things. But here's where media, and you can put these out on even on Twitter and stuff like that, or even just like this, Google Slides, to where your parents, your other players can watch this game after the game and see, and get a little hype for it. Very big copyright problem here. Like I said, I only want to show you about half a minute of that, but it's something really great to show the kids before you go out and play the game that's just for them. And then Saturday, Sunday, you post it to your newsletter, or you post it to YouTube or Twitter or whatever, and you're able to push that out to the parents. We had a few parents that we love watching this before games. We know it's not the right one, but it gets us hyped right before Friday night games. So I've been trying my best to try to get more videos out. This year kind of took a little bit of back seat to it, but I'm really going to try to expand to put these hype videos out a week after we show it to the kids. Just kind of some other things that we have, some results of. Again, this is a Snapchat video that we did just before the game. Our kids like to go out and do a circle and prayer, so I love putting that out on our social media, showing that our kids are going above and beyond for different things, showing how a unit of a team they are, stuff like that. Over here on my right, the DFW Sports Day, the sports section of the Dallas Morning News, did a contest this past spring about the best logo in the DFW area. And it turns out that when you have a really good social media presence, you can win stuff like this, and you can get promotions of stuff like this by just simply pushing your brand. Because I guarantee you, this logo right here, not the best in the DFW area. I think that belongs to Frisco Lebanon Trail personally, but we ended up losing to them, I think, the year prior. This year, we ended up beating them for the 5A crown, and we ended up being the best one out of all the divisions. So this is just one of those things that shows the results of a good social media program and being able to at least get bragging rights. Again, it can't help you win games. I'm not going to tell you that. It's not going to help you win games, but it can help you push the kids out. You get noticed by more kids. And if you're in the DFW area where it's very transit and where people move, sometimes it's really good to have a good social media program that can push that stuff and show that the kids, hey, Mom, Dad, I know we're looking to move somewhere. You got some money for a brand new house. What about Midlothian? Let's go. Can we go look at that? I want to be a part of their program. Speaking of, open up this brand new weight facility here and did a little drone video showing our weight room off. Great for social media. Probably had the most likes and retweets out of all the videos we probably have done because Rack Performance got behind it. Power Rack, the guys who built the weight room, got behind it. The floor company got behind it. They really started retweeting this out. A lot of people contacted and say this is a very good looking weight room, better than some colleges. So just another thing to put out there. Going beyond just the game of football itself. This one's kind of a selfish one. I wanted to prove a point that I could teach very well this one year. I think I got an argument with one of my assessors at one point. So I did this video on Twitter, push my own brand out there. You can do something similar with your team and your program. Kind of showed you earlier, Teachers of the Week, great thing to push out there to show, hey, you're appreciating your teachers. You're doing everything you can to show that there's something beyond where we appreciate everybody in the schoolhouse. This one is our JV night. Normally we have a JV dance team perform between games. This night there's only one game. So we end up staying and watched the JV dance team one year, and we got a lot of people, a lot of feedback saying how nice it was, how great it was that they stayed and watched as this team performed. This year we had our band qualified for state for the first time in school history. So right before they drove down to San Antonio, the football team stopped by and delivered goodie bags to the band members. And I had a couple band nerds in class. My coach, we've never even talked to these guys. How do they know about us? Like, oh man, everybody knows people. Everybody knows y'all. Y'all going to state. So we gave them goodie bags, and it was such another great thing that we did for the community of the school. And it got out to the community, and people loved it. Like just this little video here that I'm going to try to attempt to show. All we did at homecoming, our homecoming stuff is done at halftime, so the band can't perform until after the game. So here we won our homecoming game, thankfully. And so we just stayed behind and watched it. So we took a picture, put it on social media, put it on Instagram, and kind of take it like a voting. If you have one person liking it, that usually generally means 2 or 3 people saw it. If you have comments, that usually means 10 other people saw it. So while I can't necessarily track this in particular post watches, although I'm sure you can, just seeing all the comments and being able to say, hey, we all got class. This is great. Like even some of the band kids, like since these are younger people, the band kids are like, dude, this is awesome that y'all just stay behind and watch. It was really nice of y'all to do that. So it shows that we're in it together as a program, as a high school, as a ISD, if you're a single high school deal, to where you can go to these things and show that you've done it and push it out to your community. Again, controlling your narrative, being able to show that what you do is a great thing. Once again, embarrassing myself. Coach Cobra probably remembers at this point. I was voluntold to go be a referee at the Harlem Ambassador thing in Coppers Cove. So here I am stuck in the middle of a dance battle. I hated it. I just did what I had to do, but I bought into it. And then I put that out there on my social media, and I got a lot of positive feedback from it saying, hey, coach, this is funny. I saw you out there dancing. It was great stuff. So again, pushing yourself, pushing your program out there. Pushing the Panther reading thing. We have our kids go out every Friday morning and read to elementary schools. So push that out there again. Push what you're doing beyond just the field. Our parent meeting stuff, we put our parent meeting stuff on Twitter. We link it up on Twitter. We put pictures of us doing the parent meeting out on Twitter, Facebook, and all that stuff. Great way of communicating there. Bottom right-hand corner is our father-son or father-male mentor breakfast. We have beginning of every year. So we like to push that out again, showing the community we're going just beyond the game. Camps. If you have little kid camps, big kid camps, great stuff to put on social media. Here, all we did was get a tarp, some dish soap, and a water hose. And I think we're just doing it out of our water cows here on the side, just showing how much fun these kids are having at camps. They tend to be some sort of fundraiser. A lot of times they have a camp account. The more you show stuff like this, the more the kids want to go, hey, I want to go football camp this next year. I want to go to this camp next year, because you're simply doing stuff like this. Older kids camp, more skill focused. Again, drone footage, we're kind of really happy about having a drone. Here we have our D-line doing drills. We have linebackers and DBs doing drills over here right now, just kind of showing what we're doing with those are the freshmen. In this case here, the 7th and 8th graders, stuff like that. Again, really great stuff to put out there in social media. Photoshop, kind of my own little work here. Just some small stuff like this goes a long way. Putting out a JV schedule, showing that you care a little bit to put a big graphic. Everybody puts the varsity graphic out there. Everybody has that done. But sometimes a small touch doing JV schedules is real nice. Here is a weekly deal we did for some varsity. I mean, we played on Halloween, so I borrowed some WCW graphics, kind of faded it out in the background, put stuff over it, just some small little stuff like that to put out there. Those always get good retweets and likes. If you're having the scrimmage this year, I know in Texas we usually use our scrimmages as a fundraiser for our THSCA Benevolence Fund. And here's the information they always want you to put out. So we put out the information there on our social media. This is our new district. Being able to put this out before any other team in our district was kind of the goal of mine, to say, hey, we know it. We're here. We're ready to play. Let's go to work. And we're not afraid of you. Just putting stuff out like that really grows your brand. It gets people to notice. It gets people to say, hey, you're not afraid to show us what's going on behind the scenes. You're not afraid to say what's going on in the future, stuff like that. One of the big things we put on social media every year, we do this Meet the Panther stuff. We get all the athletic programs, all the fine art programs. We come in and we do a big high school pep rally, band, choir, drill teams, or all the athletic teams, trainers, stuff like that. This is always a real good thing to post on social media. I haven't gone to live streaming it yet, but that's coming along the way, I think, as well as all this other stuff. So those are just some examples. Again, putting up your brand, you can probably say the same things to your kids. If you want something done professionally, or you got a talent like this, put it out there, put it on your Twitter, put it on your Instagram, stuff like that. Help sell you. If we can't help you sell yourself as a college athlete, maybe we can sell you as a college student. If you got a skill or you've done something great, like your SAT score, stuff like that, put that out there. Show people what you're doing just simply beyond being a teenager. There's my contact info. This is kind of the end of it. I kind of blew by. I'm sorry if I went by a little too fast, but I'm more happy to answer questions. My email's right there, phone by request. Just let me know. I also host, my own little plug here, Mentor Mondays, Twitter chat to help the next generation of coaches. We talk about different things every Monday night, so I hope to get a little bit more people seeing you there.
That's awesome. That's awesome, Coach. And I appreciate you giving all the information. If anybody has any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. Yeah, some of that stuff, man, I could definitely attest to it, man, because before this past season, I was always into the video production. You know, I got a Mac here, so I use Final Cut. So I would make, just different videos and whatnot. But I started getting more into Photoshop. So kind of teaching myself Photoshop and, coming up with, game day graphics. And we started coming up with graphics for, when coach, like for instance, when a coach comes in to visit or meet with players or something, we send out a graphic just thanking them. We post it on Twitter. Just different ones for like when they commit somewhere, our guys commit or anything, you know what I mean? And it definitely helps. It definitely helps. And, it just kind of promotes, like you said, positively promotes your brand and your team and your program. So it's really, it's obviously you gotta be willing to put the time in, but I mean, it's so worth it.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there's some coaches who want to put the time in and want to find a skill that's different from their own. Like for me, I really feel like I needed to work, like you said, learn how to do Photoshop, learn how to do video stuff like that, to where you can create your own niche and be able to help promote that. And there's services out there that do it. I know I was looking into one last year called Box Out Sports that does all the graphics basically for you. All you do is upload the picture, select your template, enter the information, and it does a whole lot for you. So we'll get to that.
Yeah, no, and Sideline Design is another one. I think they have kind of already done template. They have templates already made up, and you kind of just plug your own stuff in, which makes it really good. And then they have some really good stuff too. One thing I really like, Coach, and I just wanted to comment on was, really promoting, whether it's the schedule or the game, but promoting the JV team. Because, a lot of times the JV doesn't get the love like that. You know what I mean?
Oh,
love in the school, or, it may get posted about the score on Twitter or whatever, but, to make a graphic for them and things like that, I think is incredibly powerful. And
especially because they're the hamburger squad. They get beat up Monday through Wednesday every week, and they love to be appreciated. So it's great to put that out there, all a bunch of write-ups and stuff.
That's a great point, and I'm glad you did that, and that's something that I know personally I'm going to have to get into this upcoming season.
Oh, absolutely. And I kind of dropped it a little bit in there. I mean, even if you don't do Photoshop and stuff like that, PowerPoint actually does a really good job of being able to put backgrounds, transparencies, taking backgrounds off images, stuff like that. So if you have the photo images you want to use, PowerPoint's a really, really good one to use.
I can't even tell you some of the presentations that have come across this coaching clinic. Like I couldn't tell. Like I had no clue it was PowerPoint, but it was. Yeah. I mean, the stuff that you can do with it now is incredible.
Oh, I'm friends with Cody Alexander, and he's the one who taught me on the whole PowerPoint thing. Just go in there like this one right here, the Halloween Havoc one. That's straight PowerPoint, just a gradient background, put some images on. So, absolutely.
Done and done.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate you coming on, man, and once again giving a really great talk and something that is much needed for coaches and really any sport, not just obviously in any sport or anybody just building their brand, whether it's, for their program or their personal one. So there's a ton of great information, definitely something that as coaches, you want to share this with other people. Once it goes on the drive, man, please guys, share this with people in your school, in your program, other programs in your school. It's powerful, man. So, definitely thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, I mean, like I said at the beginning, I mean, the new generation's coming. I mean, we're a part of it. They're going to find their way of finding out information. It's not newspapers. It's not email. It's social media. So be able to grow your brand, control your narrative. It's a great, powerful tool. But use it wisely. I know very well there's been some coaches, players, and all that stuff fired because of bad stuff they have on social media. So be forewarned.